Hey y'all, it's Angela, welcome back. It's been a while since I've done like a 24-hour reading vlog or reading challenge kind of thing, and I have a stack of library books that absolutely need to be returned next week, so why not try to get through them, as much of them as I can today. I've also been in a little bit of a reading slump, don't tell anybody, but it's a kick in my butt. So let me introduce all the books that I have with me. I'll start with the one I've already read a chapter of, and it's No Offense by Meg Cabot. I used to love her books in elementary school and middle school, like The Princess Diaries were my thing, the Mediator series, Avalon High. Oh my gosh, I remember loving everything she released. I've never read anything she's written for adults, so as soon as I saw this, I had to check it out. This is a contemporary romance between these two people. She's a librarian, he's a sheriff. She is not a stickler for the rules, and he is. So, oh, there's a baby that gets left in a library and they have to figure out what to do with that. So that's the premise of the plot. I'm about maybe like 2 chapters in, so we'll see how this goes. The next book is something that I've been really looking forward to reading, and it's The Project by Courtney Summers. I've heard a lot of mixed things about this book, but I loved Sadie, and it took me way too long to get to Sadie, so not repeating my mistake. And all I really know about this is that it's about a cult, and I love a good cult story, so there's that. The next book is The Way to the Stars by Kay Ancrum, another book that I've heard a ton about on BookTube, and it's about a girl and her friend, and the friend's mother has taken this trip to the edge of the solar system, or maybe really far in space, and basically every night they wait for possible signal from her mother. The next book is This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross Smith. This is a book that I've had my eye on for a long time, I think a couple of months before it was even released. The synopsis for this book really jumped out at me. It's about a therapist and this man that she saves from the edge of a bridge, and it's basically a weekend of them really getting to know each other. And the last book is The Loop by Jeremy Robert Johnson. To be honest, I really don't remember what this book is about. I saw it recommended on someone's channel, and the cover was very exciting. The book was apparently also very exciting, and so I want to go into this as kind of blind as possible. Ooh, and I also have an audiobook that's being returned soon, Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, that I'm really excited about. It's Friday, by the way. Did I mention that? It's Friday, and I'm really excited for the weekend. Looking forward to doing nothing. Yeah, cheers. See y'all in a bit. Hey, I don't know why I'm feeling so incredibly low energy today. Just the entire day, not in the mood to do anything. I tried to film like a sit-down video earlier about Pride Month book recommendations. Couldn't get through that, so that'll probably come next week. You know, I thought to maybe kind of lift my spirits a little bit. I'll make a fun little drink, non-alcoholic drink, for my family-friendly content. I don't really like drinking water, so unless I'm about to be like SpongeBob and Patrick under the heat lamp kind of thirsty, I usually don't drink plain water. So I'm gonna show you my favorite beverage to make. Ice. I did wash my hands, by the way. I hesitate to even call this a drink because it's really just fizzy juice. Basically, get yourself some juice. I have some grapefruit juice cocktail, not even the real thing. And then the love of my life, sparkling water. Not maybe this particular flavor, black cherry. Cherry as a flavoring is generally not good, but sparkling water, lover. I'll be buried with sparkling water probably. That's a fizzy one. Pour it in, and that's it. The great soda alternative. So about a third of the way through No Offense. It's kind of sitting at like a 3-star, 2.5 stars for me at the moment. It's really actually focused more on the plot line, which is this baby gets discovered, and then the kind of different things that happen as a result. The romance is pretty light. It almost feels a little insta-lusty, at least on the sheriff's part. Molly is, I think, still a little bit hesitant. I am not a fan, however, of John's point of view. He's giving me very much the same vibes as those guys who try a little too hard to be PC, and they like always make jokes about whether they're being PC enough or not. It makes me a little uncomfortable, not gonna lie. Because this is set in a small town, I was kind of looking forward to the cozy small town vibes, because it's an environment where like everyone knows each other, everyone's super friendly, and there's a lot of gossip and kind of like a lot of drama. This so far is not giving me the small town love that I was looking forward to. Yeah, not having the greatest time so far. I think I might switch to another book just for a little break. It's quick to get through, and there are definitely parts of the mystery and the crime that I want to find out more about that kind of keeps me reading, but I'm just not liking the characters and the vibe of the town so far. We're not getting to really know Molly and John as people that much, and John just annoys the heck out of me. I really don't like John as a character. Yeah, we'll see what I choose to do. Happy Friday, everyone. Okay, let's add another reason why I don't like John. They are at this charity ball event. They have a cornhole game that apparently is super intense. John wins, gets $8,000 to donate to whoever, whatever he wants to, and he donates it to the baby. His reasoning is written in the book. Obviously, he hadn't chosen to donate the money to the baby to be nice. He'd done it to get Molly to like him. This man, so... This book is literally like, screw the kid, who cares about her? We're gonna get the girl instead and do the fake thing of donating to get sympathy points. I don't know. And like, Molly eats it up. She loves this man for it, and it's kind of disgusting. Again, I don't like John, and I'm really not seeing where the romance is coming to play. Hi, it's later, and I've also finished No Offense by Meg Cabot. This was not good, no bueno. And it got to a point where I started keeping a legitimate list of all the things I wasn't enjoying about it. So continuing on from my last clip of all the reasons why I don't like John, every time we get anything from John's point of view, it's so clear that all he wants to do is sleep with Molly. John also gets super hung up on his chief versus sheriff title. From my quick Google check, it seems like sheriff is a higher title than chief, but he probably reminds people that he's the sheriff at least 15 times. No exaggeration, at least 15 times in this book. The saddest part about John being a sheriff is that his arguably biggest enemy, and he says it himself in the book, his biggest enemy is this 19-year-old rich kid wannabe who constantly somehow outsmarts John, and John has never managed to like crack this kid. This man listens to jazz. Several times in the book, John brings up that he attended this sexual harassment workshop as a part of his work, and he touts around the fact that he went to that workshop as if it was his awakening to, you know, be a decent human being and not objectify women and like ogle at them. I get that he's supposed to come off as this kind of grumpy, uptight kind of guy, but you know, that only really works if he has this kind of lovable or admirable side to him, and I never got that throughout the book. In general, I also noticed that this book had a lot of moments of very casual racism, cultural appropriation, and sexism thrown in. There's no repercussion, there's no like consequence, there's no accountability. It just feels like this author is like trying to give examples of what racism and cultural appropriation and sexism look like. The romance is very weak in this book, and I don't mean like the chemistry necessarily, although the chemistry is also very weak. I also mean that the romance isn't a huge part of this book. So yeah, kind of disappointing. I'd probably rate this like a 1.5 stars, a 1 star. I'm gonna forget about this as soon as I return it. So now that I have 4 other books to start, I think the best way to tackle this would be to try a chapter. I've never done that for this channel before, or just in general. I don't really kind of try and like taste test books before going to them. I'm gonna read a chapter of each and see which one jumps out at me. thoughts on these 4 books. You know, surprisingly, I feel pretty good about all 4 of these. They all bring a little something different. First was The Weight of the Stars. I have no idea how to hold this without it literally reflecting everything, the lovely qualities of having a library book. But The Weight of the Stars is separated into pretty short segments. I basically only read like 2 pages, but it had a very beautiful prologue, and I think that there will be a lot of fun star and space metaphors. This is giving me that kind of beautiful writing vibe, and I'm looking forward to it. Next is The Project. It's pretty ominous to start with. Right when you open the cover, it says "You Are Chosen." If you see "You Are Chosen," so pretty ominous considering it's a cult book. And like Sadie, there is that immediate connection in the prologue of a really strong sibling or kind of sisterly bond. We meet the main character B, who's meeting her little sister in the hospital for the very first time. Next is The Loop. This one started off really strong. It had tech, it had conspiracy, a small town mystery, all in kind of like a podcast format, so that immediately grabbed my attention. I am very intrigued so far. And the final one is This Close to Okay, which also started off with a bang. We immediately meet Tally, who stops this man from jumping off the bridge, and they go sit down and have a cup of coffee, a conversation. There's a lot of info dumping about her history, her family, her situation, and also her career right now as a therapist, which luckily comes into play when she's talking with this man who she calls Bridge because they met at the bridge. Right now, I think these 2 books are kind of speaking to me the most, and I think I'm gonna go with This Close to Okay. I ended on this one and I really wanted to read on. She did invite him to her home, like a complete stranger to her place of residence, which I'm kind of like, not the smartest move. First, a break though. I am absolutely starving. It's really late at night, so I think I might just put together a little snack plate. Never underestimate the power of a lot of good snacks on a plain cutting board. My food has been consumed. It was pretty good, but not pretty enough to show the camera. So I'm gonna get started on finally continuing This Close to Okay. Something absolutely bonkers just happened at the end of part 1. I have no clue where this is going. For a hot second, I thought this was gonna turn into like a suspense mystery because wow, like what the heck? But I keep checking the synopsis and it says it's supposed to be like an uplifting, kind of hopeful story. So I really don't know how this is gonna play out. Good morning, y'all. It's a bit later in the morning than I've expected. I slept in a little bit, but the day's still young, and I'm gonna first get the boring house cleaning stuff done. While I do that, I'll probably be listening to Klara and the Sun. I'm pretty far through it actually. First things first, I gotta get my coffee. Oh, look at my cute mug. Isn't it adorable? Look at the little hyper-realistic teddy bears. Oh, they're so cute. I feel like the rise in popularity of oat milk has hit not only non-dairy people, but everyone else too, because oat milk really is just that magical. We love the Costco oat milk. I made this coffee myself a couple of days ago. It's not cold brew, it's just cold pour over coffee. I do think I like cold brew more, but cold brew, literally the one time I made it myself and had it, I had such bad jitters after. There was so much caffeine. I don't know if I want to repeat that experience. Alrighty, cheers, good morning, and let's get to work. I'm back on my drink making journey with snacks this time. Failed fries, but they're so delicious. I realized that last night I was going to summarize this close to okay, and I never got around to doing it this morning. Join me as I make a chai latte, and let's talk about this book. This book is the duration of this weekend, so it's just 3 days for all of this. What was a pleasant surprise was that everything that I was looking for and really wanted with the book was there. This was maybe not everyone's cup of tea, because I think you have to kind of suspend your disbelief for a lot of the different parts of it. It gets a little bit dramatic, like, not gonna lie. What I liked was these two strangers essentially completely skipping over small talk, going straight to kind of the heart of what really troubles them every day, just on like a human level. They both have some stuff they're dealing with, and through each other I think they end up better places than when they started out. I'm not sure how to feel about some of these parts because it does feel very unethical. The breakthroughs that they have are also stemming from an unethical method of getting there. Again, that's kind of the part where I think you have to suspend every kind of moral code you have with like therapy in particular. I thought the writing was super engaging. I really enjoyed getting to know both of these characters. The whole time I was reading it, it reminded me not of a book, but rather of, you know, those the 36 questions to make you fall in love from, like, I think that the New York Times popularized. It was based on the study to see if, you know, two strangers could reveal their true selves, like the deepest, darkest stuff that they feel, and really bond over that and become lifelong friends or fall in love, basically form a really strong connection. This really reminded me of that kind of purpose. Like, it served the same purpose, this book, trying to tie these two strangers together. Or I think I saw Cindy from With Cindy's review saying that this book reminded her of the card game We're Not Strangers or something like that. Basically those card games where, like, they're really kind of like deep, not small talk questions that you can ask with people and you get really close because of it. Same kind of vibe. I think if you like character studies, if you are interested in people making that kind of really human connection, this would definitely be a good book for you to check out. So genuinely really enjoyed reading this. I'll probably give this like 4 stars, 4.5 stars. It was everything I wanted it to be, and it really hit that little chord in me. I loved it. And what do you know, our chai latte is also done. My little hack for chai lattes is to use coffee ice cubes instead of regular ice cubes so that the flavor does not get diluted. I finished it. I finished Klara and the Sun. Yay! Please excuse the noise if you hear in the background. That's the dishwasher going. I feel pretty conflicted, as I usually do when I finish books, but I think the conflict comes from just the sheer amount of baggage that this book carries with it. And by baggage, I mean like the author, plus the fact that it's his first book after winning the Nobel Prize for Literature. So I think a lot of people, including myself, were expecting a lot from this book. So to start, Klara and the Sun is set in this world kind of in the near future, or slightly adjacent to ours, where artificial intelligence has gotten really advanced, and there are these things called AFs, or artificial friends, that usually are bought for children. We follow Klara's perspective. She is an AF and she gets bought by this family, and she's a companion to this girl named Josie. Because it's from Klara's perspective, we get the story that's very childlike, very naive, very not pure, but without a lot of the human complications, I guess, that usually plague, you know, this kind of narrative. And as for the plot, there is kind of this structure that is driving the engine of the book. But like many works in this kind of category, the plot really isn't the main focus, I think, or like the main takeaway. I was reading some of the reviews because I was curious on what people made of the kind of the twists in the book, how the book ended, and what direction it took. And a lot of people seem to be pretty like meh on what was going on. I can see where people are coming from, because what seems to be the main message of the book isn't honestly that profound. I did appreciate that we could see like a very simplistic kind of broken down version of human relationships, like the ones between friends, between parents and child, between the parents themselves, long lost lovers, you know, those kind of relationships broken down from a very like naive kind of point of view. That being said, I don't feel disappointed after reading this book. I think I just feel a little kind of meh, and I think that really comes from the fact that when we arrive at the conclusion of the book, nothing has really changed. It feels like this little blip of life that we've seen through Klara's eyes, of her being in Josie's life, felt not pointless, but like something that won't ever be touched on after the moment's passed. So I'm thinking a solid 3 stars. This has made me want to go back to read The Remains of Days, which I saw in an interview with Kazuo Ishiguro, him saying that that's the book that people generally think is his best book. So I think I'm making pretty good progress so far. It's maybe like halfway through our challenge, and I'm already through, okay, lengthwise, technically like 2 books, but I finished 3 books, so your girl's on a roll. So last night, after finishing this close to okay, I know I said I was gonna sleep, but I didn't immediately go to sleep. I read a little bit of The Loop, like literally 10 pages. And I have a better picture of what this book is about now. So it's set in this small town where suddenly all these really big tech companies have set up factories and like manufacturing plants kind of on the outskirts of, which is very out of character. And in particular, there is a biotech firm there that basically kind of rules the town. Like a lot of people in the town work for the biotech firm. And we start out at this high school where one of the students suddenly becomes extremely aggressive and starts talking about like receiving signals, and like the signal is received, and starts like acting out in the classroom, and it's all extremely graphic and traumatic. Oh yeah, this book is kind of super violent, so I don't know what the rest of this book holds, but I'm probably check the content warnings before going into this one. I wasn't expecting the just right out of the gate like all of that happening in the span of like 5 pages. So far we're following from a teenager's point of view, Lucy. She was in the classroom when the dude started acting out. So I think it's gonna be a really fast-paced book. I probably should have predicted that when literally in the first line of the synopsis it says Stranger Things meets World War Z. The Loop is a conspiracy thriller set in a sleepy tourist town. So I really did not know what I was getting myself into, but yeah, it's a conspiracy thriller, y'all. It's supposed to be as crazy and far-fetched as the first chapter kind of made it seem to be. But I think this will be a pretty exciting and quick read, and hopefully I'll get it done, knocked out. It's 6 p.m. and I haven't done any reading since I last talked to y'all, but what I have done is watched about 7 episodes of RuPaul's Drag Race all in one sitting. So that's super fun. It's getting pretty late on Saturday, so I think I'm gonna call it a wrap on this vlog. To summarize though, I finished No Offense by Meg Cabot. Not the best thing I've read this year, wouldn't really recommend. I finished This Close to Okay by Lisa Cross-Smith, which I did like, but I can understand why it might not be everybody's cup of tea. And I also finished the audiobook version of Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. The book didn't exceed my expectations, but it didn't like fall completely underneath it either. It was just kind of like a meh kind of read. And I also started, I have to go get it first though, this one, The Loop. It's been pretty crazy so far, and I'm excited to find out what kind of conspiracies we're heading into. So thanks for joining me on this very casual kind of one-day reading vlog. If y'all want to see more reading vlogs, please let me know. If you want to see more book content, please add me on Instagram, Goodreads, and Storygraph. They're all linked in the description, and I would love to be friends with y'all on there. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please click like, and if you want to see more, click subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.